Hi, thanks for joining me. Andy here. Now then, I tried to get on live last night, couldn't. I keep trying. I think it's going to be a late night thing in terms of UK time. That's all I can see. Let's do a quick update, gang. It's beautiful, beautiful weather today, and because of that, I'm going to go out and make a video driving on the road very soon. But we might as well make the most of the good weather while it's here. I think that's always true wherever we are. And it's beautiful here now. I looked at the forecast, it's all going to rain and be freezing tomorrow. So I'll sit here to my heart's content tomorrow doing stuff here. But there's plenty of time, in any day. I'm just talking about the way it's going. Let's have a quick look at this. I must admit, it hasn't changed much since last week, but I have made a really bad pointer, a really bad hand. And this has shown me the way that I could make a reasonably good one. I'm not showing it very well, am I there? Look. Can you see? I'll rest it on the clock. Now then, come and have a look at this. What do we think? There it is. Look, so you've seen prettier looking clock faces, I'm sure, and much better hands than this. But there we are. I've learned to do now the very basics of it, and I can add to that and go further with it. I think whatever we do, we kind of start off basic somewhere along the line with it, don't we? And I've been making interesting kind of bespoke one-off crafty things for a long time. I'm very sure that that's where my... one of the places where my spirit guides come through very powerfully into my life, because I never know what I'm going to do. I'll just get a wacky idea and somehow it'll work out. And that's been the case with this clock, which I'm looking forward to giving away actually, but it's taken a bit longer than I thought it would. Next thing I've got to do is sand this down dead smooth and set about the paint job. And what I want to do is I have astrology symbols around this inner curved ring and the time numbers around the outside, or the other one, which I think would be better actually, just small Roman numerals in here so you can tell what time it is, and then astrology symbols quite a bit bigger round the outside. I think I'd like to give them the upper hand in the general appearance of the thing, because it is meant to be something rather different. I'm drawing on very, very old ideas here, the kind of ideas that Leonardo da Vinci used, and that's sort of a big claim to make, but the great thing about geniuses like him, and like most geniuses, is that they see a way through something that the rest of us can then follow, and it becomes simple to understand. And there are just basic proportions here. Sacred geometry comes into it quite a lot. So wand making, and this is the one that's in the thumbnail. This is what I'm making at the moment. I've turned it on the lathe, and it's made out of, what's it called? Rainbow pine? No, it's not. It's called piranha pine. That's it. Because it does have very bright colours in it in places. I've got a bit here that hasn't got a massive colouring in it. Let me just look at the end there. Not sure how well that's focusing, but there's a clear line of two different distinct shades of pine in there, and that's only just been cut, so that isn't patina, not at all. Hasn't been oiled or polished or anything yet. And I run into a snag. It's not a problem. You can always overcome these snags, but when you make a thing like a wand or any kind of what we might call a magic tool, you get into this situation where you're being guided, and we don't always get things right, spot on, bang on when we're being guided, particularly in the early days of a thing. And I like to think I've got better at listening to the fluences, as it were, but I do still make mistakes. Now, I made this, and I felt sure that this beautiful rose quartz point, I love this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's got lovely clear crystal energy, and it's quite light as well. Very light pink, which I think suits rose quartz. And according to the listing online, it was a particular size across these 2 points, which are the furthest to a point, which are the furthest 2 points apart. That's what I'm saying. And somehow we've got to kind of snug it into the end of this, and I don't know if you can really tell, but it's just too big, basically. It's going to overlap the edges. Sort of hard to show this without getting my fingers in the way, but trust me, it's going to overlap the edges. Look, if I put it in front, you can't really see the tip of the wand behind it, and the tip of the wand would need to be a little bit bigger. So this one isn't going to go into this wand now. If I cut it further back, it gets thinner, then it's very thin there, and where it bulges here, is still not thick enough. So I can't shorten it, but I didn't want to shorten it actually because of this thing of sacred geometry. This one in particular, I want it to end up about 13 inches long. We can never be absolutely precise, but somehow I've lost the thing I was going to show you now. We can never be absolutely precise with sacred geometry because we are being guided by people who don't necessarily care about the absolute fine details of things. That's something that's always been given to us, the actual craftspeople who make things. And we have to kind of decide where it fits. And I know when I make a wand, somebody isn't wanting something absolutely exactly 100% in accord with the laws of physics. So I aim for about 13 inches when I'm looking for a 13-inch wand. And there are various ways I can tweak it down to 13 inches. If the next crystal that I've ordered, which comes and it turns out to be a little bit kind of longer than I thought or something, as long as it fits into here, I can open this up with the Dremel. Let me see. Let me show you the Dremel. I like to bring the Dremel out. It's a great level of the Dremel. Everyone can use this, whether you're a tools, machines expert or not. It's got a light on the end there, which is rather good. And it kind of lights up what you're doing so you can see. And what I would have to do is use this burr. If I can switch it on. And this burr needs to go really at quite high speed to do its work, otherwise it tends to jump out. So I'm going to turn it up, bit of noise. Okay, it's just for a demonstration really, to show you that it's really quite easy and you can just kind of cut tiny little bits away, a tiny bit at a time until you get where you're going. And let's turn the light off as well. Right, that is my Dremel and it is rechargeable and it is quite easy to get the battery out if you concentrate on what you're doing. Battery charges up nice and quick. And I really like this. It can be in my house. It does make dust, as you saw the other day, and actually just there as well. But it doesn't make so much dust it's a massive problem because it's only really for doing quite small jobs with. You can sharpen garden shears and all kinds of things with these. They have all kinds of attachments. You can do routing, you can do guitar making. Great for fine work like making instruments and stuff. And of course, for that reason, great for fine work like sorting wands out. So let's have a look at some more wands. This is a finished one. I made this for my daughter quite a few years ago. It's hers. And we've got a very, very rough quartz, not rough at all, sorry, very raw quartz point. It's actually one of the less rough ones I could find, and it's a beauty. I'm really glad I got it. A point like this only costs £1 or two at GBP. I guess like maybe $2.50 in the States. I don't know, maybe, I'm saying between $1.50 and $2.50. That's really what I'm saying. On the end here, we've got Green Adventure. Have we? Yes, on the end here we've got Green Aventurine, which was Purple Aventurine when I put it on. I knew there was something funky about it being green, Purple Aventurine, but there we go. It's turned green now with time. And when I put the one together, I like to do something to join the point and the ball, because that's like a collector and that's like a transmitter the way we use it. I've come to think that the length of wood in between, particularly because I always use wood from like some kind of sacred wood, or it's recycled, or it's got some kind of heart and soul to it, the wood always has. This is from an ash tree that fell over in the lane about 12 years ago. And I think that makes the connection between the collector and the transmitter really well. But I also like to do this sometimes just because it looks rather nice, I think. It's patinated now in use. When you do this, the wire will go brown eventually, but so will the wood. This is copper wire, and I've just made it so that it would go around several times. It's quite easy to experiment to find out how to do that. I can't really show you. It's a kind of personal thing, and my fingers would be so close to it you wouldn't really see it. But you just get a stick and you practice a few times, kind of wrapping a wire around it. See what kind of angle it needs to give you 7 winds all the way up. If you want 7 winds, or whatever number of winds you want. I wanted to do it this way. My daughter tended at the time to work with the 7 chakra system, and that whole number 7 is very magical with this, so that's what I did. But it's very personal. You can do it your way. It's no bad thing buying a wand from someone, goodness me, no. And I do sell them, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing that. But if you look at this one, anybody at all could make this. What we've got here is a silver lace agate ball, and another raw quartz point. And I made a bit of a mistake. I dug a bit too far in under here. So I jammed a celestite chip in, which had chipped off something else. Kind of gave it my blessing and asked the master to come in and make that right. Because when we break a crystal, we've got to be mindful of that. And I put it in there just to make it up. So it's very, very natural. I don't think it looks great, and it is one that I'm going to sell, so I will actually be doing some work on this in another video. I think I'll give it a video all of its own, because this one is beginning to go on a bit longer than I thought it would. But here we go. You know, wands, anything to do with magic tools can be made, and it's best doing it from the heart, doing it yourself with basic tools. The Dremel is the only kind of electric tool that I would use on this. The rest of the time I use kind of a pocket knife or a bit of sandpaper or something like that. But basically, the main thing is the heart and soul of it. And if you can find a stick that you like and you can get a crystal on one end and a ball on the other end, you don't even have to have crystal. The wood's powerful enough. You can do it, and then it'll be your wand, and then it'll be ultra magic, ultra special. One last thing to show you this one. Now, unfortunately, I've got this one wrong down at this end, and I don't know what to do with it now. But look at the handle, right? I can't give away my trade secret on this. This took me years to learn. Don't know if you can see, but it's hard to see such a thing moving. But the crystal ball revolves in all directions, and it's held in there nice and firm, but at the same time you can pop it out quite easily and pop it back in again. This is the magic of wood, and the more little bits of work you do with wood, you don't have to do a lot. Even if you're just using it to light the fire, you will slowly notice properties of the way it shrinks and warps and twists, and you will be able to actually work with it, you know, not manipulate it but work with it. That's the main thing. Right, friends, I've enjoyed doing this video. I really wanted to do some wand making live. I'm absolutely sure that I will at some point, actually. It just doesn't seem to be the way it's going today, and happenstance seems to be where it's at. Guys, I'm feeling the love from all the new subscribers, people watching my videos. Someone at this very moment is going to be doing me a card reading, which I'm looking forward to. That brings a great deal of benefit to me, you know, getting that spiritual input from other people. I hope I'm putting something out to you that you're enjoying. It seems to be going rather well. So if you've enjoyed this one, friends, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, you know what to do. Please leave me a comment. It helps to kind of me to know what's going on. It's great for sharing the journey also and getting to know each other, which I seriously do want to do. These connections are important. So great. If you can share me around the internet as well, I would absolutely love that. Meanwhile, tonight, UK time, 10:30 p.m. So that is, I believe that means 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get on live, and we'll be here and we'll do some readings. If it doesn't happen tonight, it'll happen another night. But I have a good feeling about this. If I can't get on at 10:30, I'll try again half an hour later. So that'll be 11, 3 and 5, depending where you are in the world. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.